Okay, we've been sent a case for site number 30. The note with the case is this is the person that's submitting this case is the first planned case, and we look forward to helping this person today and in the future. Excuse me. So what I've done is go ahead and duplicate it. With first-time cases, one of the things that I do like to do is just double check the accuracy of the cone beam and CEREC integration. And what we can see here is what I'm looking at here is just making sure, like right here, all this data is lined up very nicely there as well. So it gives me confidence that our plan is good. Okay. The next thing I would like to do in this particular case, especially for a first-time user, is just go ahead and critique the CEREC design. So the first thing I will note that we have enough information for an OptiGuide. For an OptiGuide, if you remember correctly, we need at least 3/4 of the arch, so some cross arch stability, so to about right here. So we have enough. In an ideal world, I would go ahead and capture these teeth. That would allow me to use a isolite or a mouth prop to hold the patient open and keep the surgical guide down. But certainly this does work. The bigger concern that I have in this particular case, and not that this is wrong or right, but just in looking at it, is our design, if we take a look at it from right here, is not in line. So as we look down what I call the down the line view, we can see that that part of the tooth is too far out. So I don't like to see that. So I would like to have that be a little thinner. Okay. And then also on the lingual, lingual looks better, but nonetheless, still, if we take a look at this view right here, we can see that still that that is a little thicker than usual. So I would like to see that a bit better. Okay, and then lastly, also the margination. Again, I'm critical about these things just because I like to get ideal results, especially as we move into more complex cases. So our margin design right here should be not quite so low. This is just a matter of taking the opportunity to look at your margin design from both the buccal and the lingual. So there we go. So now let's focus on the implant plan itself. What we'll see here is I'll walk through my checklist. Mesiodistally we look pretty good. Buccal lingually, my concern at this point is the thinness of the bone right in here. We have quite a bit of bone right here, so what I would love in this particular case is just to go ahead and tilt the implant to get it better in. But in doing that, we now see that we're no longer through the long axis. So what I may do in that situation is cheat back from the apex, from the apex of the implant and try to bring that a little bit back, just like so. Okay, just like so, to get that there. Alternatively, we may have to consider going to a 4-3 implant, but if you'll notice, the 4-3 implant isn't that much thinner at the head. Or we maybe need to prepare to possibly do a little bit of grafting here. Knowing the implant as I know it, in this particular case, if you size this to like a 3/6, 4/2, you will likely not have to do any grafting. The implant will expand the site a little bit. But certainly if you compare this to the original plan sent, we can see how thin the bone here, and compare that to the plan that I just adjusted, we can see how that is a little bit better there. The next thing on our checklist is bone level. And on the bone level, we look pretty good. If anything, I have a tendency to err a little bit slightly subcrestal. With today's conical connection platform shift implants, I think we can maintain that bone. Our occlusal table presents a little bit of a challenge here in looking at that, especially with the sleeve there. What we can see is that there is a little bit of space right here, but a lot more space right here. So I'd like to see this a little bit better centered. So to do that, we would simply just move the implant over, and now we can see that we're better centered. The next thing that we'll look at is our occlusal plane. And our occlusal plane, if we take a look at that here, we can see that we're angled up, so we want that to be a little bit flatter. So to do that, we'll simply tilt our implant, and now we have a flatter occlusal plane, but that did move the implant to the distal, so then we will just come back in and move the implant a little bit backwards there to get it back into center. Okay, so probably somewhere along there, and just like that. Okay, and then our sleeve, it fits well. It's plenty of distance between that and the adjacent tooth. Other than that, everything looks great. So thank you for the submission, and hopefully this has been very helpful for you.